Ethereum bag high so that you can afford fees on the Ethereum chain.
Yeah, that's right.
There's been some, interesting talk about, once we duplicate and we got Hex on the Pulse chain, hopefully, in theory, that potentially Hex is going to do better on Pulse chain than it is on the ETH side. And if that's the case, then anybody with stakes and whatnot to unstake, and with the gas fees, if you're making good bank on the Pulse side with Hex, then you could just unstake that, take whatever the cost needed for the ETH unstake, and just bridge over that amount to unstake on the ETH side.
Yeah, it's a good point. But then again, I suppose in the long term, we're not expecting the gas fees on Ethereum, at least on Ethereum 2.0, to always be high. They're only high at the moment. I'd say after next year, it's going to be, back to normal, 10 cents for every transaction like it always was.
That would be a big change.
Well, if any of you guys have been in the game long enough, it was like that for many, many, many years. This whole gas fee shit is all very new to me. Having to pay stupid amounts of money for gas fee is a new thing. 2 years ago, this sort of stuff didn't exist.
And I think, well, my understanding is that the unstaking of Hex, part of the computation uses resources that are quite heavily priced in a Ethereum transaction.
Yeah, it's the S load function, isn't it? Like it's more than your average gas Gwei activity. It's a whole nother function to calculate every day that you've been staked, and uses some other part of the blockchain to do so. And it was a change. It was a change that the Vitalik or the team, whatever, put in place. Probably a year and a bit ago now, wasn't it? And that is when RH basically was kind of forced to consider, making a new blockchain, making Pulsechain.
Yeah, that's true. Although something has changed recently, because I remember last year I ended a stake that had already been going for a year, and it wasn't much. It was like $1,000, but it cost me like nearly $400 or $500 to end the stake. And then the following year, which was actually this year, I had another stake of the same amount, and I ended it. And yeah, sure, the Gwei price was a little bit different. Like I think I was lucky I got in like 10 Gwei. But it only cost me like $20 to end the stake for the same amount and for the same period of time. So it was a 1 year long stake that only cost me $20 to end. So something's changed. I don't know whether that's been on the Hex side or the Ethereum side, but something's definitely changed in the last year.
Yeah, it wouldn't be on the Hex side. That's just immutable code. Nothing's changed and nothing ever will with that. So that is interesting.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Do you remember what the Gwei price was when you had the crazy amount?
Oh, look. Yeah, the crazy amount, I think it was around maybe 50 Gwei. So I'd expect it to be 5 times higher. But if it was 5 times higher, it would only be $100, not $500. So when I ended my my last stake that went for a year, I was I was gobsmacked. I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting. Why was it so much cheaper?
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know. It's going to be a good day when he pulls the trigger on Pulsechain, though. It'll be very exciting.
Who knows? It could be tomorrow. He said it's not happening in May, and May's over tomorrow. So.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about 6s and 3s, recently, and I don't know. I'm waiting with bated breath for that day to come and see just if it is that crazy and silly out there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting times ahead anyway. And mind you, I suppose lots of things could change at the moment, considering there's like, practically World War III going on over in Europe right now. So who knows what could happen there.
Yeah, spheres of influence. We'll try and stay focused on the things that can do something about.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a good time to educate oneself. There seems to be an endless source of things to learn. Yesterday,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we've just got our universities here in Australia makes some, bring out some new blockchain/cryptocurrency courses that you can do, and that's, that's definitely showing a bit of, light in the future for, this sort of area of expertise, I'd say.
an adoption.
Yeah, like, you can pay money to go and do a course on just blockchain technology and come out with like a master's degree or whatever in blockchain tech.
Well, hopefully we don't need everyone educated to that level to have a MetaMask and a Trezor.
I mean, not on the crypto side of it, but just on the blockchain technology side in general.
Right. Yeah. What sort of?
It's more like network engineering rather than you don't go to uni to learn how Bitcoin works. That should be pretty straightforward. I mean, we didn't send our parents back off to uni to learn how to use smartphones when they came out, did we?
No, in the on-ramp. I mean, I've shared some of the books on Bitcoin with fellow developers, and they give it back to me and say,
yeah,
no thanks, I'm not doing command line generating cryptographic things. And I'm like, well, you'll get a good low-level understanding.
Yeah, but the command line's so powerful, why wouldn't you use it?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But then, putting MetaMask on, and because you're dealing with money and you're dealing with unfamiliar software, even though there's only a few operations, I think the brain goes into a particular state, and it's I wouldn't call it fear, but it's hard to play, and
It's hard to visualize. I know what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, I think test nets are good. I think giving people experience in a playpen where it's not real money, a bit like Monopoly, where children learn how to give change or just operations, and do it without fear of some loss.
I mean, I used to do that very same sort of thing with just basic, not wallets, but there's apps that you can get on your phone that you sort of like what's one like CoinStats or something like that, where you throw in $100 worth of Bitcoin, and it's not a real $100 worth of Bitcoin. You're just telling the app that, hey, I've got $100 worth of Bitcoin. Tell me how much that's worth now, and then you just keep holding on to it as the weeks go by on your phone. It's like, oh, now you've got this much money, or now you've got that much money, and then you can sell that pretend Bitcoin for some Ethereum or do whatever, and it's a good sort of learning point for people who are not willing to spend the actual money, but just, throw some numbers into an app and say, hey, I've got this much pretend Monopoly money. Tell me how much it's worth after a week. And then they might go, okay, well, if this math applies after 1 week, let's try it with some real money. But then again, as I say, markets are so volatile, like you can never tell.
Yeah, that's the number go up game. But just the general ability to transact with it.
That's right. Yep.
Realizing that your keys are your, a bit more than a PIN number.
Yep.
Other people's addresses. I mean, on this chat, we've had people express outrage that all the transactions are visible.
Yeah, but they're anonymous. Yeah. Well, they're all anonymous until you tie that one address with some KYC somewhere at exchange, and then you can follow the breadcrumbs back to, an address and trace it back to someone who actually gave some KYC up. So, yeah, giving KYC is quite dangerous, because then you all of a sudden have to throw your money into Tornado Cash or something just to randomize it so you can get it back to being anonymous cash again.
Yeah. I mean, the caller was outraged that other people could just see how much he had. And I think RH has alluded to running a company, everyone can see what everyone else is earning, and various other dynamics which don't exist in,
legacy. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how society evolves with that.
Yeah, well, even that can make a lot of sense, because if something's publicly accessible and you can see the balance of a so-called anonymous person's wallet, and then one day later on down the track that anonymous person fucks up by pasting their wallet address in a Twitter comment under their own account saying, hey, this is my wallet address if anyone wants to donate or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, now we know whose wallet address that is. So yeah, it can be you can dox yourself, I guess.
Yeah, with personal security implications, a whole lot of issues.
Yeah, I personally think that just crypto in general, I think one of the industries that's going to take off is the gaming industry, because that industry is it's already worth more than the movie and TV industry combined. So the way things have been going at the moment with companies like Epic Games and all that sort of stuff, charging for skins for a gun or something like that in Fortnite, or all these little different gotchas that they're trying to turn their gaming platforms into gambling companies pretty much. Anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah, and they're putting a lot of that in the cloud as well. Fortnite in the cloud. But, kids know to develop. There are a lot of low-code gaming development environments, and kids engage with that. And that'll help.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. But then again, like, cloud itself is just a buzzword. I mean, all cloud means is it's just another server on the net, and it's not yours. So,
well,
it's always just silly.
A lot easier. So, spinning up a testnet Pulse thing, you just go to a cloud provider and spin up a Linux machine, put the Docker or build the Pulse source, wait a few days for it to sync, and you can actually see the whole thing working. Whereas to actually have that in your own hardware is a little bit more fiddly.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, you can pay someone else to spin up a Linux server on a VPS or something like that, but you could actually just do the same thing at home. The only downfall is that your bottleneck is the fact that you probably don't have a redundant internet connection. Like most people don't. I mean, have you got 2 internet connections at your house just in case one goes down? You probably don't. I mean, hardwired network connections. You probably don't.
Well, funny
Most
enough.
people probably don't. But you do.
Well, when you've been in the, yeah, I'm a professional developer, so being offline is not a good idea. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I'm saying if you're hosting something, you'd want some redundancy there. You wouldn't want just doing it off your own fiber network, even if it's to your premises. So yeah, redundancy can be really good. And really, at the end of the day, cloud is just a bigger platform of redundancy, because I'm pretty sure if one of Amazon's servers go down, or one of their ISPs go down, there's always another one to just jump straight back in there and take the load. They'll have load balancing servers everywhere to accommodate for those sort of situations.
There's actually a company working on decentralized cloud storage just now. I don't know what I need to actually go back and check. I can't really talk much about it on here because it would count as a third-party project. But yeah, it's something that's under development right now. I'm not sure how far along it is.
No, you don't need to name names, but I'm just talking about the technology in general. Like, if you've got something that's decentralized, like, an interplanetary file system, then yeah, sure, that's a bit of redundancy in its own respect, because of the fact that, it's almost like a blockchain for data.
Yeah, I believe it uses like maybe redundant servers around the planet. I think they've got, I can't remember, 100 odd or something like that currently. Can't remember. But it's pretty cool moving forward. Definitely something that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a question on something I haven't quite got my head around when it comes to PulseX. There's been a bit of chat about this being a DAO and us voting with, holding PulseX. We can vote on, as far as I understand it, the single-sided staking, right? We can be like, oh, well, this is a new coin. I'm going to put my PulseX into this, earn rewards that way with the single-sided. Is that the process which people are referring to as voting, or is there a process before that where what these tokens that are being put forward are somehow voted on?
I'm not an expert in that field, but I would say normally what you're talking about applies to the more, say, PulseX you have, or Pulse that you have, the more voting power you have to make changes in that ecosystem, not third-party coins. Or, like if Richard Hart wants to make a certain change to, the platform itself, then the people that are going to have more voting power are the people that probably hold more Pulse or PulseX. That's the way I understand it, at least anyway.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
He's pretty much nailed it, yeah. Pretty much.
Right.
Again, I'm not an expert on it.
Yeah, so on the test net, and so far, that side of things potentially hasn't played out in any way, shape, or form yet.
And you can just do it on the test net currently, I believe. Which I suppose would count as that first step you were talking about. But, the best bit of advice is get on the test net and play around and find out how it works. Because, it's something that's almost undoubtedly going to happen, so...
Anyway, guys, I'm gonna love you and leave you. Yeah, I'll catch up with you later on.
Later, man.
Yeah, take care.
Cheers. See ya.
Elmire, how you doing, my friend?
I'm fine, and you?
Yeah. How are you?
Working right now.
Yeah. Are you at the job?
Yep, but today I stayed working from home.
No, okay. But still at the JLB.
It's 3 weeks there, 3 weeks at home. I was supposed to be in the office this week, but I asked to stay today.
Uh,
I think your mic just dropped. I don't know if you said something.
is that better?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Something goes off like a machine gun, I guess, maybe when it's not working. So what's the price of HEX this morning?
I have no clue. I haven't checked it.
Yeah, that's good. That means you're free. I like that. You can get.
I have other stuff
on,
to worry about.
That's what I'm saying. You can get too hung up on what's going on in these chats and but you're on the other side of the world, so I'm over here in California, so
Looks like it's done a little bounce off 0.08.
what's that?
It seems to have bounced off a bottom of 8 cents. It's got
Okay.
little tiny higher lows.
Yep, still running there. I thought I saw it at 4 cents at one point.
Yeah, a few days ago it did a spike down, and some people caught it using their matcha XYZ.
Yeah, if you're using that and you set that up, I think that might be something you can do if you're trying to play the market. And I don't play it like that because I was kind of looking at just what Elmer just said. He's like, I don't know, and I was like, well, that's perfect. That's what you need to be. You just need to put your money in, make your investments, stick with what you believe in, and don't get caught up in anything else. Although, it is nice to, hear things from people on the other half of the world, because you're certainly not going to get the news on our media